This is a kind of rubber meets the road talk today. It's about a thing called persistence. And if you've got your hand out, it's staying on track after the endorphins wear off. You know what endorphins are, right? They're the happy hormones. They make you feel great inside, and they make you feel like, you know, energy and creativity, and like the world's your oyster. And everybody that starts on a webinar like this or a skills thing, we all start off with endorphins. I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to be the next Tony Robbins. Every time I walk out on stage, I'm going to have smoke around me and big speakers and, you know, bands coming out of the speakers. And then we go home, we drive our car home from the Robbins seminar or wherever we are, and we get back to a thing called reality, and the refrigerator's broken, and our kids got a cold, and we're not getting along with our spouse, and we ate too much last night. Oh my gosh, what happens to the plans? Well, this is the aspect of success called persistence. And when the endorphins wear off, a lot of people kind of get, we're going to talk about this, they get discouraged, they get derailed, and they don't get to follow up that really cool plan that Henry and I have been working with you on all year. Well, we're going to give you a skill to have persistence. You know, I've been to a lot of persistence training, just in my own training, and a lot of it's kind of really bogus. Like people will say, persistence, yeah, stick with it. Don't stop. Data boy, get him, Tiger, take the hill. And I'm like, well, if I could do all those things, why would I want to go to training on persistence? That's kind of not helpful. It's sort of like saying, here's how to make a cake, make a cake. You don't tell people to be persistent. You tell them what the underlying elements of persistence are, and that's what we're going to get in here. You're going to get what it is, and what the purpose of it, why we need it, and what the essential aspects of it, and what some obstacles are, and some skills. So you're not going to come away and say, well, I heard this lame guy on my webinar that I paid for, he just said take the hill. No, we're going to talk about what it takes to take the hill, and it's really good for us. Speaking of which, there's so many great persistence stories that inspire me just as a leadership coach. Did you know, if you follow basketball at all, did you know that Michael Jordan, when he was in the 10th grade, he's a sophomore in high school, North Carolina, tried out for the varsity team, which good sophomores do, and they didn't like him there, didn't fit the mold. He went to the JV team. Now, if you know anything about basketball and talent, no sophomore is crazy about being in the JV team. But he did it, and the best in the universe of all time, stuck with it and learned everything he needed to learn. And what a great, you know, example. Just think about that for a second. You're the best in history. So that didn't come about when he turned 22 at UNC. That came about early so people could see stuff. But even though you know you're really good, the coach goes, you don't quite have what we need. You're in the JV, and he conditioned harder than anybody else. He stayed with it. You're sure he didn't like it. I'm sure it was frustrating. I'm sure that he had something in him that said, I'm pretty good, this is the wrong place, but he stuck with it and made history, and what a great story of persistence. So maybe you're the next Michael Jordan in trombone playing, or in art, or in a business plan, or you're going to develop an app that's going to change the world, okay? Persistence. My favorite Bible verse about persistence is kind of funny. When in church this last weekend, my pastor preached on it in Luke chapter 11. It's just a wonderful, wonderful passage about persistence when Jesus is teaching about persistence, and he says, and you've heard this a 1,000 times, knock and keep on knocking, and knock and keep on knocking. And he tells this whole story about a guy that just kept on knocking. And finally it says that when he went to get his help, in Luke chapter 11, verse 8, it says, because of his shameless audacity, I will give him what he needs, says the judge that the fellow's coming to, because he has shameless audacity. And my pastor made the point that shameless audacity is what we need to have with God, and in terms of persisting in prayer. And I thought that was a great way to look at our persistence, not only just in prayer, but in, I don't know, making sales calls, developing that website you want to have, writing that book, finding out how to get financing from that bank, or chasing that dream of having a great marriage, or getting in shape, or whatever. Shameless audacity. It's the people that knock and knock and knock and knock and knock that make it. Here's my definition, and you see it in your handout.